In this little video series, you will learn about 10 big mistakes that companies regularly do when they run data or analytics projects. I've been doing data consulting for quite a while now, and over time, some clear patterns have popped up. In other words, typical problems that burn your staff, your money, and your time. The good side about it is, it could all be avoided if I had just known earlier. Hey, I'm Chris Luwers, data expert, digital consultant, and entrepreneur. In my professional career, I have advised more than 300 clients with my company on how data and analytics and the right culture can boost their digital business and growth. If you're new to this channel, you will find how to master data and analytics and how to professionally succeed in your fast-moving and ever-changing digital world. If you want to see more of this, go check out my channel and make sure to subscribe. It's highly appreciated. This video is part 1 of 2 of this series. You will find the link to the second video in the description once it's released shortly. Now, before we jump into the actual mistakes, let us quickly look about the context here. For so many things in life, there's no right or wrong here, okay? Some organizations and teams do succeed in a way that doesn't work for others. Some do succeed with their projects and reach their goals, but it's super painful, costly, and when they look back, they could really... Although there is no black or white solution here, there are clear patterns which make some companies more successful than others, okay? And at the same time, lots of these best practices can also be adapted. But why only lots of them and not all of them? Well, in the end, every company is just different. Yeah, well, that's the classic stupid sentence of consultants, right? But it's kind of true. For instance, if you're in a startup company with a lot of digital natives, let's say, in your team, then you have a totally different starting point than enterprises. And this includes your company culture, the way you work, historic circumstances, technical solutions, and, well, yes, even politics. On the other hand, large companies can afford external help, the best solutions money can buy, and they often have a known brand that people already follow. And as you see in my simplified scenario, the best solution, whatever the best solution actually is probably very different for both types of categories or companies. Besides, you should always look at what truly fits your maturity level. If you're just starting to become data-driven, you probably want to do totally different things than if you're already many steps ahead on the ladder. Imagine it like this. A great photographer can shoot amazing pictures and tell great stories with any camera, okay? While a beginner cannot even take advantage of a 60,000 euro cinema camera. And you need to take your circumstances and maturity into consideration when doing your next data project. So let's take a look at the 10 mistakes that I've seen companies doing over and over again throughout the years, wasting a lot of money. For the list itself, it doesn't really matter about what kind of data project we talk about, okay? But obviously, the larger, the more difficult it is. Whether you're into business intelligence, AI, data science, or whatever else, you can learn from these mistakes and avoid stepping into them on your own. Take it as guidance rather than strict rules. Number 1, focus on technology only. Unsurprisingly, many data projects include some sort of technology. This might be a data warehouse, some digital tracking solution, scripts for data analysis, or something else. Look, the issue is that a company is a place that still, as of 2021, consists of human beings doing most of the work. The bigger the step forward with your technology, the harder it might be for the people to catch up. What you want to do is focus on technology, enablement, and culture. Especially from the data analytics perspective, technology is useless if you don't have the people using it properly. This can have many different reasons, by the way. It's too complex and it's not simple enough to use. Or people don't see the value of using your solution, spending their precious time with it. Or they're simply not used to work in a certain way, so they're sticking to what they are used to. Or people are afraid of using it. Let's say they don't want to break something. Or the processes are maybe even incompatible or are not allowed to use it the way you want them to use it. And either way, let's be honest, transparency isn't always desired, right? Unfortunately, and particularly when systems can lead to maybe an indirect ranking of the quality of work of other colleagues or so. When you are responsible for any kind of data project, make sure you don't forget about the people. If you don't do this, it will not have any impact potentially. Think about an enablement program to turn skeptics into your biggest fans. And no, a training or workshop of how to use it is simply not enough. Ideally, though, you already incorporated your stakeholders deeply into the creation of the product or the solution during the project or before, right? But that's another story. Number 2, no attention to data quality. And watch out if this might be familiar to you. You've spent some considerable amount of time on a new solution or say a new report. You figured out all the nitty-gritty details and went at least one extra mile to make it even look pretty. And of course, you're very, very happy when you finally present it to your colleagues. And the first impression is great. But just after 1 or 2 minutes, somebody says, there must be an issue with this data. It for sure isn't correct. And others jump in, it looks a bit weird maybe. You do your best to steer a conversation, but you already know that was not the impression you wanted to create. Look, this probably happened to everybody dealing with data already in their career. In smaller setups, this might not even be a super huge issue. But in larger projects or organizations, it's doing no good to you or to your project. Actually, it's even more severe. Have such a situation a few times in a row, and nobody will use your report in the future. The whole success of your project could be at danger when people don't trust your data. I call it the data vicious circle. The less time you spend on high data quality, accurate data, so to say, the less people will trust your data. That usually means they will use it less and less and less. And with a lower consumption of your audience, you will also care less in the future. And I'm sure you see where this will end up, a failed project. Number 3, no self-service or data democratization. Data is great for better decision making, but also for activation. And that is making use of data in any kind of operational system that you're already using, like your sales CRM, your marketing solutions, or your finance tools. In today's world, and in particular in digital business, data is a huge boost to growth, okay? You can save some considerable amount of money and accelerate your business or progress. It helps you to know your customers much better than ever before. And the list goes on and on and on. In short, better access, insights, and usage of data can be a game changer to almost everyone and everywhere inside the organization. But now look, if this holds true, wouldn't it then also make sense to give everybody access to the data and not just a few? In a way that other teams can work with data and analytics in a way that suits them best, without coming to you or for everything they want? Well, hell yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And it's called self-service analytics or data democratization. I've seen countless examples on this firing up the afterburner for companies. But beware, just technically giving others access will not change much, if anything. It's a cultural topic, as we've seen, and therefore you want to have a better game plan behind. Number 4, not giving departments what they actually need. This one is so simple to understand, but it's a huge issue in reality. We shouldn't work on data projects just because it's cool, which it is. Oh damn, still flashing lights everywhere. Well, you should work on data and analytics to have an impact on your business and your goals. When you ask upfront, everybody tends to agree that you should only spend time on something that helps you and others do a better job. However, in reality, we see this becoming an issue more often than not, because teams work on data projects and functionality that does not have a clear scope, use case, or impact in mind. It's probably going to be useful. And at the same time, the real business requirements from other teams are not fully covered. So you have something that does solve issues that don't exist and fail to have solved the real pain. If this sounds familiar, well then do a full stop Go some steps back and do a proper discovery of the project scope, especially if you're waterfall planning your projects with long requirement lists upfront, opposed to doing it more agile. Well, this will almost become 100% sure an issue. Number 5, starting too late. We could also say doing too much manual work meanwhile. And this one largely depends on the circumstances that you're in. But after all, I would say you can and should always start with data projects, no matter where you stand. The real key is to do what fits your own maturity level, okay? In other words, don't over or underfit your solution to your maturity, but make sure that you do create the possibility to benefit from the data. Let's look at one example. If you want to go, let's say, grocery shopping at home, and you won't probably take a huge truck to do so, right? Instead, you may want to take a normal car, or your bike, or just even walk. You probably not want to take a Ferrari sports car either, because cargo space is super limited in it. What you should do depends on the circumstances and the purpose. And the same situation holds true for companies. While it's not always straightforward to choose what's the best approach or the best solution, there's always something. The days are gone when every data project turned into a monster project by design. Even within your own company or department. Well, there are so many possibilities to just go ahead and start doing it. And in early maturity, this can be as simple as dashboarding software like Google Data Studio, combined with a tool to automate your data integration, for example, Supermetrics. So you don't have to manually copy the data around. In more progressed maturity scenarios, this can mean investing into full business intelligence setups and beyond. The later you start, the more potential benefits of data you will miss meanwhile, and the more decisions you'll have to do without appropriate analytics. Compared to some years ago, you don't even have to spend any considerable amount of money. It's cheaper, faster, and easier than ever. Guys, let's do a quick recap of what we've learned so far. Do not focus on technology only. See the big picture of how data is used within the organization. Pay attention to data quality. For example, not showing inaccurate data, because otherwise people will lose trust in you and your solution. Ultimately, you should approach a self-service analytics culture in which teams are trained and incentivized to work with data on their own without coming to you or the data team all the time. Make sure you know what the real requirements of the stakeholders are. Challenge their requirements, and if necessary, by their business impact, or help them to help themselves. Start early with your data journey, but make sure you find a solution and an approach that fits your organizational data maturity. Hey guys, I really hope you found this video useful. If so, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel to not miss future videos like this. Now I would like to learn from you. Do you agree with my first 5 points in the video? Or do you make different experiences maybe? Comment below the video, and I'm looking forward to see your feedback and to jump into the discussion. See you next time, and make sure to watch part 2 of this series.